What's up, everybody? Crypto Noah back with another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about Maple's new launch in Syrup Finance. Okay, I'm going to give a Syrup Finance price prediction because the Maple Finance price prediction remains obsolete because they switched over to the Syrup token, and the Maple token is going to have no value eventually. I'm going to show you my yield farming strategy if I were to accumulate Syrup passively. We're going to break down what Syrup Finance is and how it makes Maple Finance more competitive. We're going to go through the Syrup docs, just cover all things Syrup Finance. Okay, and I'll briefly touch on what Maple Finance is. And I say briefly because we already did a in-depth fundamental analysis on Maple Finance. Link in the description. Definitely give that video a watch if you haven't. Okay, so before we get started, I do have to say none of this is financial advice. Please consult with your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. This video is for your education purposes only. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Starting off with briefly, what is Maple Finance? So Maple Finance is an institutional lender. They are a private credit protocol. And you know, private credit is really important in crypto because crypto companies have a hard time getting access to lending because it's still seen as kind of sketchy. So they have to resort to the over collateralized method, which is the pawn shop model of borrowing, where you have to post more collateral than what you're borrowing. So if I want to borrow $100, I have to put up $150 cash in collateral as an example. This doesn't work because it's not how people borrow money in the real world, and it's damn sure not how institutions borrow money in the real world. We have credit scores, so people are able to assess if and when people are going to be able to pay the money back. But you have all these anonymous wallets, so there is no credit scores on the blockchain, even though they're working towards that. So Maple Finance allows institutions to get access to under collateralized lending. Okay. All right. So here we are on the Syrup Finance doc. So the biggest thing is that Maple is aimed at servicing institutions. Syrup is aiming to service DeFi permissionless, meaning you don't have to be an accredited investor or an institution. So now they had a product for institutions. Now they have a product for retail. So now they're able to serve more people, okay? So it says Maple is DeFi's institutional lender, and Syrup makes Maple's consistent high yield available in DeFi. Syrup's yield is generated by Maple's digital asset lending platform that provides fixed rate over collateralized loans to institutional borrowers. These short duration loans enable Syrup to provide consistent high yield as well as short-term liquidity for Syrup users. The strategy has a track record of consistent yield outperformance compared to the leading DeFi lending protocols. It says Maple's robust smart contract and lending infrastructure has originated more than $5.1 billion in loans to date, ensuring Syrup users can access high-quality yields with confidence. Here's the kicker. By depositing USDC or USDT into the platform, users receive LP tokens, Syrup USDC if it's USDC, or Syrup USDT if it's USDT, and begin earning yield immediately. Syrup integrates with major DeFi protocols such as Pendle Finance, which is huge. I'm going to show you guys that, to access the benefits of interoperability. Users can access AMMs for enhanced liquidity and post Syrup USDC, USDT as collateral on other yield aggregators and lending pools. So basically, you can stake your USDC on Syrup and you're immediately getting a yield, okay? And if we go to the Syrup Finance website, you can see right now the APY is 21%, right? That's just single side staking, holding USDC. So as soon as you stake the USDC on the website, they're getting the yields from the money they're making from the institutional lending. So it's not token inflation, it's not some BS, it's coming from their actual business. And all you're doing is holding the token, and then you'll be able to take that token to other platforms like Pendle, like I'm going to show you guys later, to get an additional yield, okay? So this is a really sweet solution. I'm just playing. Sorry, I got dry humor. All right, going back to the docs. Now it gives instructions on how to lend in Syrup, all of that good stuff. And it says when lending to Syrup, lenders have the option to commit their deposits for 3 or 6 months. Commitments help the Syrup team manage liquidity when they're issuing new loans. Committed deposits cannot be withdrawn until the commitment period ends. So I imagine that the longer you commit, the higher the yield. But they have it like this because, like they're saying, they're able to manage the liquidity. So if they know they have funds locked up for 3 months, they can loan those funds out for 2 months, make a profit, get the money back, and now the Syrup stakers are getting paid even more money. So I like this. All right, so let's talk about the conversion. So it says, following the approval of MIP Maple Improvement Proposal 0110. Existing Maple holders will be able to convert one Maple to 100 syrup tokens. So it's a 1-to-100 ratio. And they pretty much kept the tokenomics the same, but they just created more incentives around the syrup tokens. I personally think they should have just kept them at Maple because the Maple's name's already known, but hey, whatever. This is what the group voted on. So it says this process will unify the broader Maple ecosystem, align long-term interests, and increase token utility, including syrup staking. During the conversion, there is no dilution for existing Maple token holders. All right, so you guys will want to convert as soon as possible because, like I said, it will remain obsolete. They're keeping this live for a while, but I'm sure it's not going to be forever. But you can go to the Maple Finance or Syrup.fi, and you can literally convert right here. You click this Convert Now button, you connect your wallet, and the Maple you have in your wallet, you'll be able to convert at a 100-to-1 ratio. So for every, and it says right here on Maple conversion, Maple will be delisted on exchanges and replaced with syrup token trading pairs. All right, just to touch on this, where the staking rewards come from. We talked about this already, but it says the main source of revenue from the protocol comes from the collection of management and service fees as a portion of interest on institutional loans. Management fees are the portion of lender interest that is taken by the protocol for facilitating loan origination, and service fees are paid by the borrowers as part of their overall cost of borrowing, which includes interest. The fees collected by the Treasury can then be used to buy back syrup, which can be distributed to all stakers along with a portion of the token inflation. So you're getting token inflation and you're getting actual real yield from Maple Finance's institutional lending arm. All right, now let's go over the syrup tokenomics. So it says as a part of the implementation of Maple's latest governance proposal, MIP 110, the syrup protocol will mint approximately 1.5 billion syrup. This new issuance does not represent an increase in the token supply, but rather a conversion of one Maple to 100 syrup with no dilution for Maple token holders. So although it's more tokens, it's the same valuation, and everyone will just be able to convert their Maple to what it is now. And when buyers come in, it's the same thing. It's kind of hard to explain, but hopefully you guys know what I mean here. So if I go there, I've got my VPN on, but access is restricted, so I can't look at it. But I was able to get to the Pendle page with the Syrup USDC. So we made a video on Pendle, and it basically allows you to separate the yield from the principal on different yield-bearing tokens and assets, etc. So you can get leverage on here and get different kinds of yield here. So this is the yield token. YT stands for yield token. So this is just the yield from Syrup USDC. So it says leverage your points exposure at the cost by buying yield token. On top of yield token's leverage, you get additional bonus multipliers from Syrup.finance. Yield token would have a value 0 at maturity. And the value is 0 because it's no principal. It's just the yield, okay? You can exit anytime at its current market price while retaining all the points earned up to that point. Then you have liquidity pool Syrup USDC. So it says retain a majority of points from Syrup USDC while earning Syrup USDC yields, Pendle incentives, and swap fees. You can exit anytime at no additional staking. So here you would buy Syrup USDC and you would just provide liquidity, and you're getting paid your yield from just holding the Syrup token. But when you stake here, you're also getting an additional 15% APY. And you're getting paid from the Syrup USDC yields and Pendle incentives and swap fees for people swapping these LP tokens. Now let's go to PT Syrup USDC, which stands for principal token. So this one is both. You're holding the token. This one is just the yield. This one is just the principal. So it says forego your Syrup USDC yields, right? Right here, you're foregoing the actual principal. Here, you're foregoing the yield. Here, you get the best of both worlds in a sense, right? So you forego your Syrup USDC yields and points for fixed yields, right? It's fixed, no matter if the yield goes up or goes down. Each principal token will be equal to 1 USDC on Syrup.fi at maturity. Fixed yields is achieved at maturity. However, you can exit any time at its current market price. So it's just a matter of what you want to do. If you want to get a fixed yield and guarantee it because you don't know what can happen, you get this one here. If you want to lever up and you just, betting on the yield and you don't want any access to the principal, you do this one here. And if you just want to provide liquidity for people to trade the token, you can do this one here. All right, so now that we went through the Syrup Finance fundamentals, let's go through the price prediction because I am holding syrup. Full disclosure, I converted all my maple to syrup. I'm still bullish, even more bullish now that they're servicing not just institutional but retail investors or clients. Still bullish. So I got to do a new price prediction. So let's get right into that. All right, guys. So this is my syrup finance price prediction. Okay. So when you're coming up with a price prediction, like I always say, or your take profit strategy, you want to have a conservative estimate and an aggressive estimate, and have it set up to where even if it doesn't hit your conservative, or if it exceeds your aggressive estimate, you're still taking out some good profits. Okay. So the current price of syrup finance at the time of this recording is 22 cents, and the current fully diluted valuation is $252,624,515. This number right here. So I'm predicting that this is going to 80x, which would bring the fully diluted valuation for my conservative. That's a $10 billion FDV, right? And I say this because, we saw Avi and Compound go to 5 billion, 4 or 5 billion or something like that last cycle. So with crypto having a bigger stamp of approval and them servicing, institutions and retail, I like this. Also, if we refer to RWA.XYZ, you can see it's 9.4 billion in total active loans. And you can see that when you include all protocols that have a token, I'm not sure what figure is, Maple is number one. They have over 2.3 billion in active loans, in total loans, and 285 million in active loans. And when we go into the bull market, as you can see in the peak, they had around 859 million in active loans, and we're starting to see this rise and rise. When we get to the peaks of the bull market, I think it's going to be even higher than this time, because the market's going to be higher, right? Because it's more legit. We got ETFs, and companies who go to borrow money, their balance sheets are going to balloon, making them more credit worthy, making them more likely to want to borrow. Maple Finance's balance sheet is going to boom, making their risk appetite increase as well, making them more likely and lenient to lend funds, and it just creates a positive self-reinforcing cycle. So I think it's going to be even more than last cycle. And the more they loan, the more fundamentally valuable they are, which equates to the token price rising. Okay, so my conservative is 10 billion, my aggressive is 20 billion. Okay, so let's say you're starting off with 10K. Okay, at 10K, if I'm investing 10K, my first take profit is going to be, once it does a 4x from here, that's going to bring the price from 22 cents to 88 cents, and that's going to bring the FDV from 252 million to 1 billion and some change, right? This number right here. So that's going to turn my 10K to 40K. I'm taking off 15. Why am I taking off 15? Well, because I invested 10. I want to take out my principal. Plus, I want to take out 50% in profits. Now I'm in a risk-free trade. So even if it goes to zero, at least I still made some money, okay? So now I have 25K in profits left over. My second take profit is going to be once it does a 5x, right? That's going to bring the price from 88 cents to $4.40. And that's going to bring the FDV from 1 billion and some change to 5 billion and some change. And that's going to turn my 25K into 125K. Well, now I'm taking out 25K in profits. So I have 40K in profits so far, and I have 100K left. Now, my third take profit is going to be once it does a 3x, okay? So I didn't write down the price, but that'll bring the price to 13 something, 14 something, and it's going to bring the FDV from 5 billion and some change to $15 billion and some change. And again, we're still 4 billion and some change away from my aggressive. So I'm getting more aggressive on my take profit. The more it goes up, the more aggressive I'm getting, because the closer it's getting to the top. And I'm not going to fool myself into thinking I can predict when that's going to be. So that's going to turn my 100K into 300K. I'm taking off 200K in profits. Okay. So now I have $100,000 left, and I'm going to be taking out 25% profits every time there's a 50% increase. So this is like intelligent dollar cost averaging out of the market. So if this all shakes out to how this says, this enables you to turn $10,000 safely into $340,000. That's pretty fucking good. All right, so I showed you my take profit strategy. Let me show you how I would go about accumulating syrup finance passively if I wanted to provide liquidity for it. Does it even make sense? Let's refer to our in-house custom Yield Hunter tool. And before I show you this tool, if you want to get access to this tool, you want to get access to our 13-hour yield farming course, our elite DeFi community where we give out price predictions. We do calls where we have people ask questions, just give out alpha, and just a really good group where everyone has each other's best interests. Click the link in the description, book a free strategy session. You'll talk to me or one of our coaches. We'll see if our program is a good fit for you. If not, happy to point you in the right direction. I digress. All right, so this is our custom in-house Yield Hunter tool where it shows all the top yields in DeFi in real time. You can search by chain, you can search by protocol. You can also do some back testing on here. So I'm just gonna type in the ticker syrup and let's see what the yields are looking like. So you can see syrup wrapped ETH and syrup maple are the top pools. And you can see that the APR is only 40%. I ain't fucking with that. Like, it's a high correlation, but I would rather be in my SPX pool, my SPX ETH pool, that I've just made a video on recently. And I'd rather just take those yields and use it to buy syrup, right? That Maple ETH pool was printing great. And hey, maybe when people convert over their syrup, then this will do better. But for 40%, DeFi got me spoiled. When I see 40%, I'm like, oh, that's trash. Like, if I look on here, like I said, the FDV is 252 million, market cap's 100 million. But if we look at Maple still has a $220 million market cap. So eventually all of these need to port over. That should make the market cap double. A lot of people are still confused and don't know what's going on. A lot of people buy stuff and they don't keep up with what the company's doing, okay? So it might be better to provide liquidity for syrup in the future, but right now, no bueno. All right, guys, so with that, I'd like to conclude this video. If you got value, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, share with a friend. Let me know what DeFi, RWA protocol, private credit protocol you guys want me to cover next. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of you who tuned in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and trade safe.